In September 2024, Tupperware Brands Corporation filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, a company with products in an estimated 100 million homes worldwide. A brand so dominant it became a verb. Gone. The debt load at the time of filing, approximately $818 million. Annual revenue had fallen to around $1.3 billion, roughly half of what it had been a decade earlier. This did not happen overnight. It happened slowly, then all at once, the way corporate collapses usually do. To understand how a company this embedded in daily life ends up in a courtroom, you have to go back to a garage in 1946. A chemist named Earl Tupper was staring at a piece of polyethylene slag industrial waste, essentially, and seeing something no one else could see. He saw an airtight seal. He saw freshness. He saw the American kitchen, and he decided he was going to redesign it. The Tupper seal was patented. The product was elegant, genuinely innovative, and completely impossible to sell. Department stores stocked it. Nobody bought it. The product required demonstration. You had to show someone how the lid worked, why the burp seal mattered. A shelf couldn't do that. A salesperson could. Enter Brownie Wise, a single mother from Georgia who had been selling Stanley home products door to door and understood something fundamental. Women in post-war America were home, they were social, and they trusted each other far more than they trusted any advertisement. Wise built the Tupperware party model. Tupperware pulled its products from every retail shelf in 1951 and went direct to consumer through a network of independent saleswomen. It was radical. It was considered insane by the industry. It worked beyond anyone's projections. By the mid-1950s, Tupperware was generating millions in revenue. Brownie Wise became the first woman to appear on the cover of Businessweek in 1954. Earl Tupper fired her in 1958. He gave no public reason. He then sold the company for $16 million and never worked again. A tidy ending for him. The company Tupper sold continued to grow. By the 1970s and 1980s, Tupperware parties were a global phenomenon. The direct sales network expanded into Europe, Asia, Latin America. Peak revenue reportedly exceeded $2.6 billion annually in the early 2000s. The model, built on a single insight from 1951, was still running. Here is where the story gets interesting. And by interesting, I mean catastrophic. The direct sales model that built Tupperware was simultaneously the thing that would strangle it. The company knew this. They discussed it. They largely chose not to act. The Tupperware sales force, the consultants, the party hosts were aging. Recruiting younger sellers proved increasingly difficult. The gig economy offered alternatives. Social media offered different channels. The cultural moment that made the Tupperware party work in 1952 was not the cultural moment of 2005 or 2015 or 2023. Meanwhile, retail was changing in ways that should have opened a door. Amazon launched. Big box stores expanded. Competitors Rubbermaid, OXO, 1,000 direct-to-consumer startups, moved into the food storage space with modern branding, retail placement, and social media presence. Tupperware watched. Tupperware did eventually try retail. In 2013, they placed products in Target stores. It was a test. Sales were reportedly underwhelming. The company concluded that retail wasn't for them and largely retreated. The lesson they drew from a single poorly executed test was that an entirely different distribution strategy was fundamentally wrong. That is a remarkable conclusion. The brand also had a relevance problem that went deeper than distribution. Tupperware was associated with a specific era, a specific domestic role, a specific generation. Younger consumers didn't have the same cultural memory. To them, Tupperware was their grandmother's kitchen. That is not a growth market. A serious rebranding effort, new design language, social media investment, a genuine push to meet consumers where they actually were could have addressed this. The company made incremental moves. Incremental moves against an existential threat are, functionally, no moves at all. Now we arrive at the debt. Because a declining company with an aging sales model and a brand relevance crisis is manageable, painful, but manageable, until you layer $800 million in debt on top of it. Then it becomes a countdown. The debt accumulated through years of operations, borrowing to fund the business while core revenue declined. By 2022, Tupperware's auditors issued a going concern warning, formal accountant language for, "We are not confident this company will exist in 12 months." The stock lost more than 90% of its value between 2021 and 2023. There was a brief, strange moment in 2020 when Tupperware became a meme stock. Pandemic-era home cooking sent consumers searching for food storage solutions. The stock surged. The company was briefly valued at over $1 billion again. Executives called it a resurgence. It was not a resurgence, it was a distraction. The underlying sales force was still shrinking. The debt was still compounding. The retail footprint was still negligible. A spike in demand during a global crisis is not a strategy. It is weather. You do not restructure a company around weather. In April 2023, Tupperware publicly warned it might go bankrupt. The announcement sent the stock down another 50% in a single day. The company scrambled to negotiate with creditors to find buyers to refinance. For approximately 18 months, they fought to stay alive. In September 2024, they stopped fighting. Chapter 11. An estimated 700 employees, decades of brand equity, a product that had genuinely changed how millions of people preserved food, all of it in a courtroom being divided among creditors. The lesson here is not that direct sales is a dead model. There are companies running it profitably today. The lesson is about the danger of confusing a distribution method with an identity. Tupperware didn't just sell through parties. They believed they were the party. So when the party became irrelevant, they had no idea who they were. Every year they delayed a genuine retail push was a year of market share handed to competitors who were happy to take it. Every year the sales force aged without a serious recruitment strategy was a year of structural erosion. The decisions were small and quiet and completely predictable in hindsight. They always are. A brand that survives 70 years has earned the right to believe in itself. That belief, taken past reason, becomes the thing that kills it. Tupperware didn't fail because the product was bad. The product was fine. They failed because they were so certain of what had always worked that they couldn't see it quietly stopping. If you found this story familiar, a dominant brand, a distribution model, a slow fade nobody wanted to admit was happening, wait until you see what we have on Kodak. Subscribe for more hidden empires.